think we'll go ahead. Yeah, we'll go ahead. It's 11:04. We're going to go ahead and call our commission meeting to order. Obviously, it's just the three of us today, so we'll move forward with the minutes and the consent agenda for the June 28, 2023 meeting. Were there any comments, concerns, changes on those minutes? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Bob. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Consent agenda. Thank you. And then we'll hop into the financial reports. We've got two now. So Mike, in his absence, he did have these prepared. So there's one for all the TIF districts, and then one for, and we can do these separate or together, I guess. But one for the TIF districts and one for Lexington Village. The thing I would note, we've talked about this for quite a while now, but to now see it is kind of nice. We went from having $5,000 of interest in a month to almost $15,000 of interest in a month. So that'll be nice. And we'll talk more about it, what we're going to do with those funds later. But any questions or concerns on the TIF or Lexington Village financial reports?
No.
If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve both as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, both financial reports are approved. And then we'll get to the Parks Department and the dog park in Jan. Let's get it done.
Good morning. I guess we're going to talk about the dog park today. We're not going to talk about Christmas in the park. We're at like $2,500, but I have some promises from folks that are going to get us up to $15,000. And but I also found out early this morning that one donor can only contribute no more than 35% of what we're doing. So that's $12,220. So I guess I guess that's what I really need from you at this point. But I guess I was hoping that if we need some more later on down the road, that it would be okay to get that. I mean, I can't imagine it'd be a lot more than what we're asking for, but anything, if you want to go ahead and go for the $20,000 that we're up to $20,000, that would still be helpful. So.
And you're saying that technically we're not supposed to provide more than $12,250?
$220, yeah.
$12,220.
To the actual, to match the donation. So, but we certainly can use the rest of it, I'm sure, to help with the final product. So.
Okay.
Where are you at with all the donations?
I think we're at like about 15,000 with a couple of large donations yet to come in. So, and we're doing some radio stuff this week and next week. I hope there's an article in the paper this week at some point. And so, I'm hoping to get that word out. And little trickles are coming in. So right now, so.
Are you seeing this is going to go over the 35?
It might, but if I get to 35, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Because that'll get you to the $70,000.
Yeah, right. So, and I have some extra funds from another donation that it's already there, so we'll be able to spend up to like $75,000 at this point. So, I think that's where we'll be anyway, but I'm not sure. Something may change from our numbers that we had. So, fencing is very likely to be the one thing that'll really change on us. So,
Do you have a breakdown of those costs?
I do. I don't have it with me.
I would like to see those.
I've got the actual cost of everything, including our labor costs, because that was one of the things I had to turn in when I did this grant. It'll be about, our labor costs are between $30,000 and $40,000 that the Parks Department is going to be doing that work, and or volunteers. And I think we're about at 75,000 in terms of materials and supplies that we're going to need for this equipment to do all this.
So you will have a breakdown of it.
Yeah, I do have it, and I'll be happy to send it to you. I just don't have it with me.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I lied. What did I have? I just had, I think. Oh, I do have one. Amazing. I don't have one.
One though, you have access to making more. You can print more or no?
We're trying to use local vendors to build this, whatever it is. So like Louthan will do the concrete work, and we're looking at Roudabush to do the benches. Split Road Media will do our signage. I'm trying to think who else is on there. It shows all the different vendors that we're anticipating going through. So,
And then the general maintenance of it will fall on just your normal crews.
yes. In fact, we're planning to have a regular period of time on like Tuesday mornings that's when our staff will be there to do whatever cleanup or work that has to be done there. So,
Okay.
so we're going to have a regular time every week that we're going to be there.
Okay.
Refresh my memory, but you're providing this free of charge, right?
Yes.
Anybody can
Right.
use it?
Uh-huh. And so there's no doubt about it, it'll take the public to help maintain it, to pick up after their dogs and make sure their dogs are not aggressive and
Well
have their shots and records and things like that. They're not in heat, any of those things. That's up to the people that are using it, for sure. So. And we'll have a set of rules that we'll set up, and certainly I'll be monitoring as I can, so.
Okay. Let Perry take a look here.
So your demolition here, it's $90 an hour, it's gonna be 200 hours. What are we demoing then?
The fence that's there now, and also the dugouts that are there probably try to move things around that are there. But that fence right now is in pretty bad shape. And our goal, our primary goal in the very beginning was to have a new fence. It really makes a difference in how that's going to look and be perceived, I guess. So we felt like a new fence with that access gate, which will have a concrete floor. Those are important elements to establish that this is a dog park. It's not, it's important for people to know that that we've spent this money to make sure these are the areas that we need to be in. So.
Are you demoing the press box?
Not yet, because there's restrooms there that we might be able to fix up. They're not in good shape right now, but I think that's something we can be sure will be done in the next year. So, maybe if whatever funds you are able to give us, maybe we can do the restrooms now. My staff is really good at taking care of things like that.
It'd be nice to have, I'm sure. What else, Perry?
So you're gonna demo the dugouts, you said?
The dugouts, yeah, the dugouts in the current fencing.
So your Parks Department, we're gonna spend $57,600 for labor?
Anticipating, I mean, it's the cost of their salaries.
Seems
their
extreme,
wages.
but it's not,
So,
It's their wages.
seems like a lot, but. Did you get one estimate, Jan, or one proposal, or multiple proposals when you were putting these numbers together?
I just got one. I got a low cost, ones that I knew were not high priced, so. I mean, certainly some of the supplies, and, that's the way it's gonna be.
We think. I mean,
I mean, to me, that's a lot of hours. 640 hours at $90. And what are we paying our personnel there at $90 each? I'm not saying it. I mean, what I'm seeing is this, it's like there's always costs. I mean, I do this every day, so there's always costs. It's that you don't see, and then here we're at. But at the same time, we can't be a money-making foundation either. We're charging, you're paying $90 an hour. How much does it actually cost per person to work that hour? And if it's costing us $40 an hour and we're paying $50 an hour, who's collecting that $50 an hour then? What's that going towards?
I'm sure there's a contractor that's.
Well, it's our staff that's
Oh,
doing it.
Okay.
And our staff is in the $16 to $18 an hour range. So when I put $90, that means there's like four to five people doing that work at a time.
That's not how you, I'm not, I mean, I do this every day. So when you go do a job and you have, I'm looking at man hours, 640 man hours. So what you're telling me is you're gonna have 3 guys on there. So actually there's 1,920 man hours.
No, that's not the way I
640
figured
man
it.
hours is what you got here, at $90 an hour, okay? So a total of 57,600.
Okay, then I don't have this done right then.
Okay, that's what I'm saying is, if you're saying that's 3 people per man hour because you're charging $90 an hour per man hour, and you're gonna have 3 people divided by 90. Okay, so then you got me down at 640 man hours. That's going to be 1,920 man hours. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm not, could you look at it again and see what you
Absolutely,
please?
absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, people are going to see this and say, oh, they're charging $90 a man hour, and I'm working for you, and you're paying me $18. Where did that other money go? Mm-hmm. Wow, you made a lot of money off of me. Thank you.
We're not making any money.
I'm
though.
saying that's what it looks
Yeah.
like. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, but we're not making any money. It's just our,
What I'm looking at is.
that's what's called forced account labor. That means that we're the ones doing the work, so.
If you could go back and look at your man hours, that would be great. Because I'm looking at 640 man hours. You're gonna get paid $57,600 to do this job. You are, the Parks Department. That's
No,
what you're getting paid,
yeah, but
to pay your people. So,
Maybe that'll reduce the overall cost then, if something that's more in line. Or does it make sense to have a third party come in and do that kind of work if you're looking to spend 57,000 or whatever on the demo?
57,600.
Yeah.
So what it comes down to is if she says that's 3 man hours, and then that's divided, then we're only down to 200
Right.
15 man hours. Then you take that, you understand what I'm saying? So, anyway, when you do a job and you think, okay, it's gonna cost us $50 a man hour, that's for one person. That's not for 2 people I'm gonna have a job. So if it's gonna take 2 people, but my charge is $50 a man hour, then it's gonna cost $100 a man, because I had 2 people on that, if that makes sense to you. So,
that's what I was trying to do. If I didn't do it exactly right, then
well, it just comes down, the charge then is $57,600. So I would really like to know what the labor cost is actually gonna be.
okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Do we want to table this then? Jan, what kind of timeline are you looking at here?
I have to have it for August 13th is my deadline. So, yes, I still need it now, so today, because you won't meet again till afterwards.
What's the deadline
August 13th.
for? What's the deadline for?
The matching.
The
matching.
fundraising, yeah. Uh-huh. And I asked for an extension, and that was not,
Not given, huh?
they weren't in for that, so.
Well, so the way the resolution that is in our packets written, it would approve up to a certain amount of money. So if we get a revised figure that's lower, I mean, we could look at lowering the amount when that's invoiced to us, or we don't do anything today, and then Jan's gonna have to figure something else out.
Who wouldn't give you the extension?
The grant people. So we won't be able to match it. I mean, we can do it later. That's not it, but it won't be there to help meet the grant match.
Matching requirements. So you'll lose out on some money.
We lose $35,000, yeah.
I can't do that either.
Right.
So how do we,
You could modify your resolution to say the 12, because 12,220 is the total you could give anyway. So you could modify to give that, which would be the maximum you could give. And then Jan could come back if she needed additional money to, that you feel like you qualifies for that. And then just do a second resolution to say, here's the exact amount from, if you were going to give her, if you were going to give her 35, or you were going to give her 20,000,
Yeah.
we'll give you the other 7,000 separately as a independent donation to complete the park.
I would prefer to do that.
What do you think?
That way we can
That'll
still get the grant money for it.
the max
Yes,
matching.
that would be great. That would be great.
Bob?
Yeah, I'm with Terry on the cost, so I understand exactly what he's saying. It just was not presented in the right way. But I do think that we should move forward with something. And I think, if you want a motion, I would make a motion that we amend it to, that we would pay up to $12,230.
230 or 220?
220, yeah.
$220 at
Okay.
this time.
Okay, and so if Bob has a motion to amend Resolution 2023-333 and change the verbiage in that last whereas to not to exceed $12,220, and then in Section 2, we would just amend the dollar amounts to kind of reflect the different percentages, so 50%, 30%, and 20%.
Right, you could actually take, I don't like doing it, but I mean, we could take the dollar amounts and just use the percentages, or I can.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Because, we'll just do that. Okay. And just as a note, in Section 2, I think the amount of up to, we might want to insert the word but not to exceed in that Section 2, that first line.
Up to.
The amount of up to but not to exceed 12,220.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine, yeah.
So just add the word there.
And you can amend that after that's put in there in section 2. If they need to come back and show us that they need more, is that?
It'd
Is
be
that
a separate-
going over?
A different
I
one.
would
So we'll
say
do a
that'll be
different
whole
resolution.
separate resolution, Barry, that we would present.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that works.
Yep.
Okay. So we've got a motion on the table to accept the amended resolution with the $12,220 figure and adding a word not in there and just using percentages. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Jan,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Appreciate your help.
You're welcome. Okay.
Are you going to approve the resolution as amended then?
As amended.
I'll work on it.
Okay. And then, Bill.
Okay. Just a little history about the nest. It was about a year ago, early to mid 2022. I believe Nikki, this was in the heat of the MSRP. She decided, boy, that's looking good. I need to fix my place up now. And that's kind of what we wanted, was this domino effect. As estimates were being gathered, the limestone fell down. And that caused delays, business closure, they had to go to the back. At that time, there were estimates in the $18,000 range. So her attention went to staying open, not necessarily painting at that time. So I was looking back at our September 28 meeting minutes for RDC, and there was a lot of talk about should we or could we do more for the nest based on the delays, the limestone in front of our building, the cost of materials were going up. There was a lot of discussion in those minutes about there was support up to 50%, but it was agreed upon, let's stick with our 15% program resolution and then potentially look at 35% additional, but maybe get new estimates, things like that. So on October 26th, we came back and you did approve 15%, which was $3,300 and some change. The new cost was in the 22.5 range, and this is for, there's some rotted wood, the sign's bad, windows need fixed and glazed and things like that, and then paint. So knowing that we had to wait till MSRP was over anyway, why go get a new estimate? Let's just wait till everything's done. They move on. Basically, the estimates are the same, unless something comes up weird. So in the meantime, we had that new program. We went to city council and got the revolving loan program. So here we sit with an approved old resolution. My hope is we can get the 35% additional, and we have this new program that we have approved, but nobody knows how to do it yet. So that's where we're at. Ultimately, I would like to get an additional $7,891.80. My hopes is we can word the new resolution, if you're in favor, to call it the revolving loan fund, so we're at least talking about the right program.
Under section 1?
Under section 1, that would give her assurance that she's approved. She can then start getting her contractors lined up, the schedule in place. In the meantime, me, John Michael, Dwayne, figure out how to do this new program.
So just a note, we probably need to go back, Dwayne had mentioned this, and amend the initial so that it's all.
That's the reason why I said I'd rather do it all as one resolution. I think I would think you guys could approve what you're wanting, Bill, with 50%, total being your amount that you're going to approve, because that's what you're looking for, right?
Essentially, that's the request, yeah.
So approve that, and then let's put a resolution together, because previous resolution, we can't pay it out of there now. I mean, by State Board of Accounts, we're going to take exception to that. So why not amend that resolution and rewrite it so we simply clarify 15% was the initial at this cost, 35% additional has now been taken in. It will be then taken from the revolving loan fund to be paid, since it's an exterior program fund, and you've already got the paperwork to show that. That would be that's a cleaner way of doing it than trying to go back and fix those other
So
resolutions.
hypothetically, let's say it's approved. I'm just not making any decisions. So today, the approval would be in minutes only.
Correct.
Then next month, we would do a new resolution, amending the previous resolution and adding this.
And taking all this information into that resolution
are you able to do a resolution and refer to minutes today that aren't technically approved?
Sure, we can go ahead and do we can go ahead and include what's in the minutes as the information for the resolution, within the whereases and even in the sections. Because you're approving that today, we'll write it in for that resolution, and it'll all be approved.
And so we're not going to have a second resolution at all? It's just going to be an amended one that will then bring everything into that
Right,
amended
it
one?
would be, the amended one
One
would be
amended
one
resolution.
resolution.
That's it.
It will override resolution, whatever that is, 22333.
Right.
And be inclusive of what you're
Okay.
asking for today. And it would all be in one, it would all come from your revolving loan fund and take us out of that other issue of what's in resolution 22333. See what I'm saying? That kind of amends it all and takes care of it all in one swoop. I just didn't have time to do all
I
that
get
prior
it.
to this.
I get that. I guess the assumption would be, well, for one, if it's approved. Two, well, we have a quorum next month. Because then you get into the season, before you know, it'll be,
But she'll
Season
be
we
able
don't
to
want.
move, what Dwayne, what you're saying is based on this approval, that's going to give her the go-ahead so she can get the contract.
Right, I'm just trying to get you.
correct, but you can't pay anything, though.
Right,
Right.
but she's not going to have a bill, I wouldn't think, before.
No, but like if next month we can't get a quorum, or it's a different three, and
Yeah.
one doesn't like it, or,
Yeah,
I know Mike's on board verbally, but I did just
yeah, no, it's important to think about. I mean,
thinking about that stuff.
Well, and the other thing, though, you could always have a special meeting called, if you can't get a quorum right away, we could adjust the date as long as it's been publicized.
Yeah,
Because we got more work than just renaming it for the resolution. We have
to figure it
logistics
out.
of how's it even going to work.
How's it gonna function?
That's- Yeah, so I'm good. I'd be great if we could get that request and approved, and then we just figure out how we're going to get this thing moving before next month.
Okay. So if we need a formal approval, I guess there need to be a motion that, number one, what about the percentages? Are there any concerns with the dollar amounts?
The only concern I have is the signage. You said something about she needs a new sign.
No, it's the current one that's on the building. It's not a sign. It's like a wooden, not 3D, but
Right.
it comes off, I think it's just kind of fixing it's like a wood sign. I think they're going to pull it off and fix it or replace it, yeah.
That would be my only concern, is the sign, us paying for the sign. The only reason I say that is because then everybody would be coming here, and I need to get a new sign, I need a sign.
Technically, the signs are part of the
That's
program anyway.
It is part of the program.
Signs are part of the program.
Really? Sound.
Okay, Bob, any?
That's good.
Yeah.
I just don't want somebody to say, oh, well, you did it for them, why didn't you do it for me?
Well, it's part of the facade anyways, right?
It's on the facade, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Separate.
an illuminated, it's not I think it's technically just wood,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I'm good with the numbers. I mean,
Okay.
I do understand costs have gone up
Yeah,
since that day, 22.
sure. So if we're okay with the percentages, then it's just us putting a motion forward that we approve the overall dollar amount requested.
Correct.
And then understanding that we'll draft a resolution that will amend the previous resolution, pull in the new revolving fund program language, and the additional funds that are being requested due to the circumstance around the facade program that we had previously, the MSRP facade project. So,
So
And the
basically,
amount- And the
we're-
amount you're asking for, Bill, is the 11,000, the total amount is 11,270.
Totality of it is, the new
Yeah, that's
is
what
not
I'm saying,
that.
total, ask 50%, that's the true total.
50% is $11,274.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's the right amount, so whenever,
And I had made sure with her, if there's additional, that's not on us.
okay.
So we're just going to approve the third whereas.
Basically, the funding, the dollar amount that we're willing to approve, with the understanding that there will be an amended resolution that pulls in the additional dollars and adjusts the revolving loan program language.
Well, I'll make that motion that we would approve the dollar amount of $11,274 as we do the new resolution.
Okay, thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Okay, Bill? Any other updates?
The only thing to, well, there's plenty, but I guess something to bring awareness to, and I don't have the dates in front of me. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared on this, but RDC owns the current farmer's market lot. If you recall, we did an RFP to try to find a developer for an apartment complex. We had a developer, and you approved it. Thing is, the time. Things have changed, not much has happened. I don't think this should be a forever amen situation. So where we're at with that individual, that developer, again, rates are high, costs are up, so the debt service has changed and the mix has changed. He has asked for a new housing study for his bank. That has been ordered. I'm not sure exactly on the timeline of that. But once that comes in, I think we should give him X number of days to commit to something. Nothing formal today, but once that housing study comes in, my recommendation is to give him 30 days to give us a concrete plan with his bank. If not, we move on, and that's no longer a commitment to this individual. And if we have somebody new come forward, we can address that. Right now,
We can't do anything right
Can't do
now.
anything right now. So nothing formal today, I just kind of get on your radar that that's what I would recommend.
What was the figure on that? Total figure on that?
That's a good question. Boy, it's been so, 6 to 9 million range.
I was thinking
think it
8,
was.
yeah.
It was a 35 unit,
6.9, you said?
6 to 9 million. I've got so many numbers in my mind, but it was somewhere in that range. And it has to be non-residential on the ground floor. I think it was 3 floors,
Sounds right.
like 10, 12, 10 units, something like that. And it'd be like a fitness area on the ground, laundry, things like that.
What kind of period of time after the study comes back are you thinking?
30 days.
Okay.
30. It'd be I'm hopeful by next month, if the housing study's done, we can come and say, we have a date that you guys can vote on. And
That sounds good to me. Okay, just kind of noted.
I'd like the 30 days.
I do too. It's been a long time.
he's had enough time for everything else. Now it's just, can he get the numbers to work? Can he get a bank on board? Things like that.
32 units, you said?
I think it was 35.
35.
Great. So once that study's back, Jacob, do you have any idea on timing?
I'm looking right now, 2 to 3 months after it was signed. It should be next
Time.
month,
Okay.
so before your next.
Okay, great. And then once we have that, give them 30 days and then either see some movement or move another direction. Great. Bill, how about Chase and Davis in regards to annexation and steps being taken?
I was given the timeline last week from Bose McKinney. It looks like, like I said, I've said before, it's like a 5-month process. Even though council has approved it, they've given their blessing, they approved it. Essentially, they're saying, as actions come before them, they'll approve it. We still have to go through those meetings.
Sure.
That could be some PR stuff we have to deal with, but I think the first hearing is would be their September, the next trigger date would be their September meeting, so in August, I'll be going to them for, get on the agenda.
Okay.
But it looks like it would be done before the turn of the year,
Okay.
right about that time.
And has there been conversation about some sort of study there to look at use cases?
Two places have been contacted, I believe, through Jacob. We're having people come to us saying, hey, what are you going to do? What would you want to do? We're interested in doing X. We thought it's time to get a nice site analysis plan of what would be best out there. Is it purely residential? Is it a mix of commercial and residential? Is it whatever? So we don't have the proposals back yet.
Okay.
But then I would probably be coming back in front of you and seeing if you could fund that.
Okay. Thank you for those updates. And just while we're talking about Chase and Davis, we did receive the cash rent in July. So $11,400 some approximately. So we have been talking about what we do with those funds. They're a little different than other dollars that funnel into our TIF districts. So we can, Dwayne, we talked yesterday a little bit about options for that. And then also, while we're talking about options for kind of different, about options for the interest that's being generated. So this month we generated $22,000 in interest. Last month was $8,000. So there'll be more money that'll kind of accumulate, and it's by statute. I think we can do different things with it than we can other dollars that are generated from taxes that are funneling in. So we had talked about at one time putting the interest, the earned interest, into just a general fund that's more discretionary in nature, because it won't be governed by the same laws that govern the rest of our dollars that come in from tax revenues. So I don't know, Bill, if you have any thoughts, or Dwayne, if you want to kind of comment on your thoughts.
Well, as you say, you could, we would have to go through council to get the fund approved, but you could establish a general fund, and according to what State Board of Accounts was telling us and what Dennis Otten was telling us, the way I understood it is, once you establish that fund and you can pull any non-taxable dollars off and put into that, funnel it for anything you want to use. It could be used for administrative, it could be used for, it could even be used for exterior programs if you wanted to fund that way, because you wouldn't be using tax dollars.
Right.
So it could be used to replace money eventually for the revolving loan program if you wanted to use that money instead of your taxable dollars that you're using otherwise. You have a pretty wide open field for that. And we could draw that interest off every month from your accounts to put into that. And as John Michael said, that's a sizable amount now with what we're getting currently. So you would have a growing fund that would act as kind of a nest egg for you guys, kind of, as it were.
Right.
It is a sizable amount. I would like to see it used for that area.
But the cash rent.
Instead of using it somewhere else.
Sure.
I mean, that's just my opinion.
No, that's fine, and that's kind of what we're talking about. I mean,
But
if we
it's-
get this study, the study could cost every bit of $11,000, probably multiples of that. But we would also have this earned interest setting. So, Dwayne, I don't know, it's a popular idea to have two separate accounts created, one for this $11,400 and then one for accrued interest. Or if there's a better way to kind of keep the $11,400 separate, so that we use it just for the Chase Davis project. Yeah.
There's probably going to be other monies that have to be spent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Advertising if we had to,
Yeah.
anything like that.
And I think the interest earned on all of your money should be separate.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have different rules to follow, you need to prove it didn't come from that pot.
Right.
You've got to prove it came from that interest.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at, if we're going to make 12 to 15 grand a month, or whatever that number is, 12,000.
It was, yeah, I mean, this month it was 22 between the.
I mean, you're looking, $250,000 in a year.
Right.
You can do some pretty good things with that.
Yeah. It'd be nice if interest rates stay here. That'll be the thing. How long will it we?
And if you don't spend it, it's parked in an interest that was not taxed.
Right. That's
You can spend it 2 years from now.
right.
On facade and not go through.
A lot more steps, a little easier. So are we in kind of consensus that we'd like to then take the necessary steps to request a new account for a general fund type account, with a discretionary type account that's funded with the interest each month?
And then, so then do you want so my understanding, you want a separate account then for the checks for Chase Davis?
I don't care if you get a separate account, but you have to have a separate
Accounting for it.
accounting for it.
Right.
So whatever's easier for you. If it's a separate GL and that, like,
Right.
runs through that GL, I don't know why you need a new account.
So I say we could do it all in one account, I think.
say one, I
All we
don't-
have to do is track it,
As long as you can track it.
yeah.
But to me, that's the important part.
Tracking.
Record it as revenue,
Yeah, right.
track it through our GL with the revenue to show that that's where that money came from.
I think you're gonna come up with ways to spend it.
I wish 11,000 was, a good chunk these days, but it's a fraction of what'll be needed. So, okay, well, do we need to do anything here in terms of a motion to approve the request, to open the general?
I would say, Dave, you accept a motion from them and through the minutes that then they go to council for approval for additional fund, or for me to present it for an additional fund to be created? Because it has to go through finance.
Yeah, I think they can just make a motion that they would like us to do that. We write something up for these finance meetings.
So if
So I would make a motion that we set up a GL account,
kind of a general fund account
fund account.
that will be funded with accrued interest each month, and then the cash rent.
Cash rent.
But there will be, the GL account or general ledger accounting will help keep track of the cash rent so that it's only spent on the Chase Davis project.
Yes.
That's the motion. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign? All right. We'll get that finance and get that moving. Any public comments or other comments?
Just to mention real quick.
Yeah.
The event center, Dykeman will be, there's already equipment down there. Dykeman will be on site Monday. The road closures were approved today. There's a groundbreaking at 2 o'clock, so please come. You guys were a big part of this. So Monday at 2 o'clock at Riverside will be a groundbreaking. Contract is signed. The investors are on the same page with Dykeman as far as what will get done and when it gets done. So here we are. It's going to start pretty quick.
Should be quick.
They're going to start doing some test digging on Monday to make sure they avoid your old water plant basement and structure, so we can avoid costs there. But LMU's been very good to work with on this. And so anyway, that's Lexington Village. We get monthly updates. It's going very well. No issues there. Jacob can chime in if he wants. I haven't seen any issues, heard any issues.
I have a question for you, and probably Jake too, but I thought Dykeman was supposed to start working on the parking lot the 5th of July.
They were. Well, there was some contract delays,
Okay.
so I wouldn't put it on anybody. The good thing is it still worked out. Plus, that gave us time to do more analysis with Crossroads engineers and figure the perfect layout and things like that. So the initial goal is that they will have the pad site ready for when the investor group has their building delivered, which is, was it mid-August?
I mean, the building will probably be there in September, but the pad was supposed to be ready by August 1st, so.
Last I heard,
A
August 15th.
little behind on that. but-
Yeah.
August 15th, last promise I heard.
Yeah,
So,
that's pushing it.
yeah.
Jacob, I'm getting a lot of questions about the swimming pool you're putting out at Lexington. So can you tell me what's happening there so if I answer any questions?
So yeah, that's the retention pond for the development out there. Now, how much retention it actually will have based on what they've kind of found in the material there. They found a lot more sand than clay. So I don't know how much water it will hold, but they're looking at some options to actually utilize some of the natural like boulder formations that they found out there to provide a barrier for that, rather than doing a guardrail or something like that, that they can actually do something that will look really nice there. And then it kind of remains to be seen how much full retention and water is going to be in that thing.
Do you think it'll be as deep as it is right now? You don't know.
I don't know.
What is the reason behind another retention pond? I mean, because we have one at Walmart and every time we do one of these, we're gonna have a retention pond. I mean, what's the reason, what's the study saying we have to have a retention pond? Why aren't we pumping it out through the
Oh, we're slowing it down.
infrastructure, I guess?
We're slowing it down because all that water has to go to wastewater. So you got to slow it down.
My biggest thing is
It's
the society we have today. I mean, we got kids that's doing stuff. I mean, we have some kid, we have it within the neighborhood. That's what I'm worried about. We have a retention pond in the neighborhood, or who's reliable if something happens? Even if we put a fence up, who's reliable if something happens? And I just don't, all these retention ponds we have everywhere, when we have them, if you're on the highway, it's one thing. When they're in the middle of town, it's a whole different story.
I think that's the concern. That's been the concern. So if there's some sort of barrier, that would make some sense.
We're going to keep evaluating as the project goes on, just because we don't know exactly what the end result of that piece of it is going to look like yet. But there was discussion, I think, early on about even utilizing Walmart's retention ponds for the project, because it's a requirement. We can't get around it, and we can't give ourselves a break on it, and we wouldn't give, a private entity a break on something.
Right.
Too. So that's,
Right.
we got to be consistent, and unfortunately it wasn't able to work out where we could use the existing ones. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it, and you're going to have to, if you're in that area, you're going to have to pay attention to it. It's by a busy street too, and it's right across the street from the river. So, you run into similar concerns there. So we'll have to kind of evaluate it and make sure that it's properly signed and all those kind of things as well.
It's taking up a lot of room. And then we're gonna do the same thing out on Chase and Davis. We're gonna have to. Because you're seeing it here, you're gonna have to do it there. I mean, it's.
I don't know what I don't know what what makes it.
I just told we had to have it.
Yeah, is it 50 homes? I mean, I don't know. And is it 50 homes in a certain space? Like, I don't know any of those things, so I can't.
Yeah, I think it's just the amount of additional impermeable surface that you're putting down there, and the rate of flow that would create into the current stormwater system. And so they, by permit, have to slow it down, whatever.
Yeah.
So you guys are involved with that then to
Yeah.
who's in charge of that now?
Cameron.
Yeah, they've been involved basically every step of the way.
Yeah. I just get a lot of every time I see somebody, they're asking me what size of swimming pool you're putting in.
I've been asked many times too, so that's. It seems like
They have these. This is new for us.
It's deep.
Because requirements have changed since the last time that Logansport had a subdivision built within the city, really. And so, I mean, I think that's a big part of it, because it's unfamiliar around here. You'll find that in a lot of these subdivisions that are being built all around the state, they're very similar to this. I mean, that's what the contractors have said. They're building these all over. And this
Yeah.
is pretty standard for what they do.
No, I agree it has to be done. I just wanted to make sure I didn't know if it was going to stay as deep as it is, because it's deep.
It's the.
Yeah.
Bill, okay, this might be a question for Kelly too, but how about developer status? And I know that's going to be important, allow things to kind of move forward in terms of getting people's interest, getting pre-sold homes done. And the more time we have, the better, I think. So,
For what I know, the chosen developer has been 100% engaged, even though there's no agreement in place.
okay.
Marketing material, websites, been on site with F&K to go over the soil analysis and all the other stuff we're talking about. In the meantime, the agreement is being worked on by Mr. Lehman. He's trying to leverage another subdivision contract that was done in Miami County to assist us with the complexity of the agreement.
Okay.
Other than that, he can update you more.
Okay. Because I know that is an announcement we want to
Yeah.
make, and until that agreement's in
I'm getting
place.
tons of inquiries, I'm not able to say a word,
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
getting tougher.
Sure. So I don't know, Kelly, is there any sort of timeline that you have in mind?
Would not be offended if you guys wanted to retain one of these firms you could use it for these things, because it's not an area of my expertise that I did in practice,
Gotcha.
private.
Mm-hmm.
They're not simple
A lot of things to consider.
on there, and it's going to be ongoing. And I think it would not, one of the horses I had was going to send me what they had done, a similar type of arrangement.
Sure.
They're not being applicable in total, and they never are. Everything,
It's unique.
get it up, frankly, and not have the back and forth. Your program and Andrews on the other side.
Right.
Be a nice way. And it was a one-stop deal.
Mm-hmm.
This is, a different kind of arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay. Well, Bill, maybe that's something just to consider. I don't know if there who out there we might think about, but I understand what you're saying. There's a lot of dynamics to what's going on. You've got pre-sold, you've got specs, you've got, there's just a lot of things to consider. Maintaining the property, when's the transfer of ownership happening? So there are a lot of moving parts, I would think. So, okay.
In the future, is there any way we can simplify this process? Because I'm just saying the Chase is,
Yeah.
that's a big deal. Chase is gonna be huge,
Yep.
and we're gonna go times 3.
I guess define what process. We've had
Oh.
15 processes in this Lexington Village. What I have heard is 8 years this and 7 years that. That's a bunch of bunk, because it was never, it's like the school. We acquired property 20 years ago on Chase, but it doesn't mean we were doing anything with it. So it wasn't like we've been working on it for 20 years. It's only been the last couple of years where we was built a school. This was more to get the property 8 years ago. It's all in the last couple of years, good 2 years, that this has got us where we're at. So looking back, every deal's different. I guess we'll see how comfortable maybe Mr. Lehman gets with, if he gets this information, if he's comfortable moving forward. If not, we'll just know the next deal. We could go straight to Bose McKinney or whomever to start that process quicker. It hasn't,
run out on it.
no, I get it.
Yeah.
It hasn't slowed the process down with the developer. I just want to be able to give them assurance that they have a signed deal.
Well, and I think it'd be nice to be able to announce them. So,
That's big,
yeah,
just to
because they can
shift the
really
questions to them, and they can give more floor plans and layouts and pricing.
turn into people saying, yes, I want a home, because now they know who's building it. So, and that'll help in a lot of ways. So, okay, good deal. Any other updates? Nope.
No, that's good for now.
Okay.
That's good.
Any other?
Factories coming in town,
We have a big investment of a current factory. We went to city council Monday night. A. Ramon's doing a big $12 million investment. They have 29 locations throughout the world they chose Logansport to invest in. They're moving a lot of their business of a similar facility they have in Canada to here. So we're unsure what that means people-wise and dollar-wise, but we do know that they're doing 12 million bucks. They're replacing, basically, if you ever go out to A. Ramon, you have their biggest footprint is on the east side of their property. They have another building on the west side of their property for their plating and coating division. That's all going to be revamped. So it's a good investment. We just went through abatement compliance, and for the most part, all of our companies are growing. The salaries are way up. The people are up. So there's a lot of good momentum of our current group. Of course, we're always looking for something new. The biggest obstacle I would say we currently have is a lot of our inquiries want 100 acres plus or an existing building.
So out there at the Climbers, all the building that's going on out there, is there land out there to acquire that 100 acres you're talking about?
There's land everywhere to acquire, it's just how can you do it? I mean, there's land, that's the positive with Logansport and Cass County. Our industrial park is surrounded by a bunch of land. Their park is surrounded, I don't know the details out there, but they're pretty much full. They're getting close to being full. And we have a couple spots out here. Our biggest,
You interact with both?
Yep. That's a completely different park. If somebody's wanting a feed business or a trailer business, it fits their covenants for out there. It's more what they do out there. We're more manufacturing. So yeah, if somebody calls me looking to put in a new tractor or feed business, then I shift it out there and vice versa. We have a couple spots out here, the biggest being 30 acres. We're surrounded by basically one landowner. That's awesome. Around the complex. So it would take participation with them to grow. So there's been talks. There's been talks about spec buildings.
The spec building, I mean, it's just me. Because my background, which a lot of people don't know, I haven't always been in Logansport. So the spec building, I disagree with 100%. The reason being is the stuff I did before, for the same company, we had multiple different specs. You don't build a 12,000 square foot facility with 3 docks, and it's gonna fit this guy's needs. And over here, we're gonna build a 55,000 square foot facility with 4 docks. Everything when you spec build is assumed to you only. That's what I know.
And that's the reason we don't have one.
Yeah.
We've looked at other communities that have had them for 10 years.
Yeah.
Some get lucky.
Yeah.
I
I just don't think Logansport that's lucky.
It's one of those, how many opportunities do you want to lose before you decide to go a different direction? That's what we're up against. The decisions have been made, the thought process are, let's don't do a spec building. Plus, right now, you're looking at, it used to be $40 a square foot to build these things, now it's 100. And what?
Have you had guys come in and talk to you saying, hey, would you build this for me?
That we will do. There's a lot of, yeah, we've had that. We've had a couple deals that just didn't work out. Like private-public partnership. The majority of what we're seeing lately is tied to the EV industry. And they want it now. And there's communities out there that have it. So, not proposing we do a spec building, I'm just saying it's what I'm seeing. And their electric requirements are enormous. So you would have to purposely, strategically, where are you going to put them in your industrial park, closest to your nearest whatever, because the loads they're requiring are pretty massive, that I assume are existing.
Yeah, there'd be some infrastructure work.
Yeah.
So out there, is it Kaufman? Are they completely going to be shut down?
No, they have, I announced this at council, I'm sorry if I didn't hear. They have been bought by an internal group, and they're still doing wire harnesses. They retained a lot of the employees. They're looking to do improvements. They're not in Logan Sport city limits. They're just at their,
That's right there at the edge then.
yeah, they're carved out, so it wouldn't be your group that would have to worry about it as far as improvements. But we do have a request in for improvements out there. I think of their 150 employees, they retained about half of them. The other ones have been placed throughout Logan Sport. So you'll actually see some improvements. In one of their buildings on Burlington, we've talked about, Chris Pine bought. He does the holster handgun business. So he's getting ready to redo that on Burlington. So 2 of their 3 to 4 buildings we've got repurposed and filled.
What else? Anything else? Any public comments? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn. 12:05.
So be it.
Second, great, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Good job. Yeah. I like to get in and get out.
Get in, get out.
Yep.
I didn't say.
Thank you, Dwayne.
So anyway,
I'll send you copies of this after I get it done,
Okay.
both resolutions, so that you can make sure they meet the specs that you did. I worked on that while I was up here, while everybody was talking. Trying to get stuff in motion.
How you doing, sir?
The biggest problem is just modifying the 12-220 and not to exceeds for that, and I'll get that done. And then the other one, I'm gonna rewrite it to amend
Yeah.
the other one,
I
and
think
get
it's a
it
good
set up so
It'll all be in one now, and all be captured.
that, right, we'll have it all taken care
That's
of.
what I'm
Okay,
thinking.
thanks.